Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw here at the ASTA Travel Advisor Conference here in Dallas, and we're actually almost the last day here, but I had a chance to interview Chinmay Sharma, who is the global head of lodging, ground and sea at Sabre Travel Solutions. And Sabre's doing a lot these days to help you out there in terms of your work, and he actually specializes really in the hotel side. We're going to talk to him about that and a whole lot more on Insider Travel Report. Chinmay, first of all, great to meet you here. Glad you came over to talk with us about this today. Let's talk a little bit, really, Sabre's been expanding its technology really amazingly. Talk a little bit about that and what you're trying to do.
Thank you. Yeah, no, first of all, it's great to be here at ASTA, and big hello to all the travel advisors. Thank you for enabling travel every day. Sabre, as you know, has been a significant travel technology platform, helping our managed travel category book all travel components. Air has always been a big part of Sabre, and now increasingly lodging, ground and sea is an increasing focus as well. So, we have more than 1 million hotels on the platform. We work with all car rental companies, rail companies, as well as cruise companies. And there's a big focus on just bringing all the travel components onto the platform so that we make it easier and easier for our travel advisors to book travel.
Let's talk a little bit about the hotel side, because this is a huge area. We all knew, I've been covering Sabre for 32 years, and it was, air booking engine, and then you brought on hotels, you brought on this, but how have you been expanding that whole segment, that hotel segment? Because it really is a way that I think most travel advisors do book through the GDS, through Sabre, right?
Yeah, so luckily we've got a lot of history in this space. Ever since 1964, we've been doing what we do. The amount of hotel content that we have has only been increasing, and if there's any content which is not available on the GDS core platform, then we do work with some aggregator partners also to bring that content over. So we are led by the requirements of our travel advisor community. So if they tell us that in certain geographies there is some content which is missing, we work actively to bring that on board. Off late, we've started to get some inputs on can we have some kind of alternate lodging and short-term rentals as well, and in certain markets we've started to add those. Luckily, the business is doing quite well. For the last 6 months, I would say every month we've been growing in double digits compared to last year. The hotel attach rates have been improving as well, which is big thanks to all our product and technology teams who've been adding more and more functionality on the platform so that it's easier for the advisor community to book.
And what they're going to get is like the best rate you can there at that point, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, also thanks to the amount of volume of business that we do on our platform, we do really work very closely with all our hotel supply partners and rail and car supply partners to make sure the best content is available. So we've also added a lot of reports and technology to make sure that our travel advisors are getting good content and competitive content.
Now, what about the cruise side? And I know you oversee that as well. And is Sabre really a place where you can book a lot of cruises as well?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, cruise is a big part of the travel journey. We have outsourced some of the cruise technology to a certified partner, but all the content is still available on the platform. So our overall vision is that any parts which are required for that complete trip, we should continue to add them, and we are investing a little bit more, even on ground transportation, airport transfers, etc. So based on the feedback that we get from our travel advisor community, we'll continue to act on it.
Now, what would you tell travel advisors out there? They have Sabre, and now as we were talking at the previous interview, they have now an easier form of Sabre if they're not as familiar with Sabre. How easy is the functionality for those incoming travel advisors? Because what's happening is that the travel advisor is a growing profession, and for the first time in my recent memory, we need more travel advisors, and unfortunately, these are not as well trained in the way to use Sabre. You used to have to go to a Sabre class and things like that, but then you have this new Sabre Red functionality that how easy is that to book hotels?
Yeah, no, we're very excited with the launch of Sabre Launchpad.
Right.
So, like you mentioned, it's meant for advisors who are not used to the old GDS world or to the commands we used to have. So, for anybody who's new to the travel business, it's very easy for them. It's very intuitive. It's all web-based, browser-based, and it's very similar to doing any shopping on an e-commerce website. So the flow is very good. It's fully graphical, and we expect the adoption rates to increase quite a bit. So the early results have been pretty encouraging. We've already introduced it to a couple of agencies, and all the feedback has been great.
So you have a functionality here where they can compete with the online travel agencies, with Hotel Direct, everything else, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The flow is exactly very similar to what a B2C customer will experience on a OTA. And the best thing is that this is all on the GDS platform, and it all takes care of all the segments and all the e-commerce behind it.
Yeah, that's amazing because when I first got in the industry, I was still dealing with travel advisors who were on green screens. So that we're talking a way back, and back then a travel advisor unfortunately meant you had to be Sabre proficient or WorldSpin proficient or Apollo proficient. So everybody had a different class, and you had to do that. And before you could even sit down, you had to do the class, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the best thing about Sabre Launchpad is that it's all graphical, it's all web-based. So we can continue to optimize the screens based on the usage of the advisors, and it's completely customizable, and we can change things on the fly.
What about the information you provide on, let's say, each hotel? I mean, how in depth do you get, and how easy is it to find the different? I mean, I don't know if you have photos. I don't know what you have because I'm not on it. I guess I don't have to take a class now because I got Launchpad. But what kind of how in depth information do you have on each property?
Yeah, I think the content is pretty good, and we can always do better. But there's been a big focus in the last, I would say, 12 to 18 months on make sure that the content is consumer grade. We have room type level images, we have destination information, etc. And the good thing about Sabre Red 360 as well as about Launchpad is that there is no restriction on the quality of images and the level of images that we can have. So
you're going to have all the photos of the hotels and the rooms and everything else, right?
Yeah. So for a lot of our key hotel partners that already exists, and we will continue to add that for our pretty much everybody who's on the platform.
Because I know, one of the things about, and I grew up with the OTAs and everything else. And you remember the OTAs started as an airline booking platform, and then now they're basically hotel booking platforms. And they're pretty intriguing, in terms of that. But the travel advisors that my readers they need something to help them compete against that. Even though basically Expedia or any of the others are just a large travel agency, but they want something that can help them really get in-depth knowledge and then be able to book the best rate.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we're taking the best practices from all e-commerce engines, not only within travel and OTAs, but also companies like Amazon. We have a strong partnership with Google, which is a 10-year partnership.
Yeah, I was talking to your colleague about the Google partnership, and I'd forgotten about that when you first started. And what is that giving you in terms of what you focus on in the content?
Yeah, so we have a few things going on with Google. One is that internally we have an organization called Sabre Labs, which works very heavily with Google. So all our artificial intelligence AI tools are being developed in partnership with Google. Wow. And we have probably more Google certified engineers than any other travel company, just thanks to our partnership. And the kind of solutions we're bringing up are what we call lodging AI and a lot of solutions on the retailing side. So within the hotel world, for example, we are adding automation for our travel advisors, which will help them cross-sell, make suggestions on properties if they're sold out, and also automate things like email parsing and converting voice to text, etc. So there's a fair amount of automation that's coming up, and the advisor community can rely on us to continue to add that innovation onto the platform. Well,
you're talking automation. We can't not talk about AI, artificial intelligence, and how are you using, especially the generative AI, to help travel advisors and make your system even better?
Yeah, so in our partnership with Google, we work with their product, which is called Vertex AI, and some of our use cases are very simple to deliver, even though it's very complex at the back end. So I'll give you some examples of alternate sell or a cross sell. So if a travel advisor has booked air but they forgot to attach hotel, the system can automatically prompt them at the right time with the right recommendation based on traveler buying behavior as well as loyalty affiliation and travel programs, recommendations on which hotels to book. If a hotel is sold out in Manhattan, if they're booking a particular hotel, which 3 alternate properties will make the most sense based on the travel program, and then a fair amount of automation. So the end result is that the travel advisors will save more time, they'll be able to spend more quality time with the customer, with the guest, and then actually sell more business.
No, it is amazing because when we first heard about AI, a lot of travel advisors were worried that it's going to replace them, but actually it's going to be a help. It's going to be something that can help them, and almost every tool I hear about with generative AI is something to help them.
No, absolutely. I think this will be a tool which will just add efficiency. I think the role that the advisors play, frankly, that can't be replaced, and this will just mean that they'll be more efficient and they can handle more guests and personalize their travel requirements.
Fantastic. Now we go out, as I said, about 125,000 travel advisors. Is there anything else you want to tell them about what Sabre is doing today, both with Launchpad, with your hotel and cruise and all the other different content you have, and what they can expect from Sabre?
Yeah, no, like I said in the beginning, big thank you to all the advisor community. So please continue to do what you do. We will continue to invest in the platform. I run what we call the lodging, ground and sea vertical, so I'll stay focused on adding more relevant content, and we hope to continue the partnership.
Well, Tim, I thank you very much for taking the time to come over here to ASTA. This is your hometown, right? Dallas. I don't come here that often, but it's great to be here, and it's great to be at this really good conference of travel advisors at ASTA, and it's great to hear what Sabre is doing.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
I'm James Schillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.